Hey, Benny Fish. It's the 16th of August, 2021. I sincerely pray you're well. I really do. It's getting wilder by the day. We have some severe nutbaggery going on, some serious stuff. Red alert level lawlessness. The chaos, hypocrisy, contradiction. Not to mention an emerging dystopian hell world. I want to show you what's happening around the world, at least in Australia, for this video, and what is coming here in America, worldwide actually. And you do not want to face this without Jesus. I have to say this right off the top. His Holy Spirit, His peace, and His counsel are essential. That means must have. And I will state here unequivocally my belief that if you are not reborn, if you have not had a change of mind and been regenerated in the Spirit of the living God through Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone, you will be deceived. Period. And if you're humbly seeking Him, who is the truth, Jesus Christ, you will, without question, know when He's heard your cry and reveals Himself to you in His Word. You gotta read the Scriptures, knowing that this thing manifesting around us cannot be fought in the flesh, in the carnal. Know where your faith and trust needs to be, because essentially, this life is no life. It's a vapor. Jesus is life, eternal. Okay? Living in the flesh equals death and hell. Eternal. Like being trapped in the world you see manifesting around you now. Forever. No thanks. I choose Jesus. You can have this place for what little time there is. But then the judgment. Anyway, the world, the flesh, the devil, Satan, who is, remember, the most cunning of serpents, the snake. You should have known he was a snake, right? Before you let him in. He will try to convince you. That flesh will try to no end to convince you that the good people, the awakened people, we can rout out this evil and create a better world. Well, if Jesus isn't on the throne, no thank you. One will come, however, and the masses will worship Him because they love this life more than they love God, and they do not have the love of the truth. Now, these people in Australia, they're unable to defend themselves, as we are here in the U.S. But remember, defense is one thing. Fear, anger, and vengeance on the tyrants is a whole nother ballgame. Remember, the sword of the Word is the only offensive weapon we have in our whole armor of God, right? So learn about that armor and read the Bible. If you don't know where to start, if you've never gotten into the Word of God, I would suggest Luke or John and read on through the New Testament first. Every word in the Bible is like a great pearl, but you should read the New Testament first, in my humble opinion. Now, I don't know this YouTuber, but he's got quite a following, and I will leave links. So check this out.
Hello, Maria Z.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic, and you have a lot of support here. So you must have some great things to say.
Look, well, I'm in Sydney here, so we're facing some of the harshest lockdowns that we've seen in Australia to date. We're not allowed to travel more than 5 kilometres from our house, even to get groceries. We try to order groceries online, particularly Western Sydney here, which is facing the worst lockdowns, where people can't go to work unless they've had the jab. And you try to order groceries online and they're inundated. So we're in a really difficult situation. We previously had a rule where there was what's called a singles bubble, where you can go and see your friend if you don't have a partner. Now that's changed as well, where you have to actually register one person only that you're allowed to visit, and that person needs to be no more than 5 kilometers from your house. It is Tyranny. Tyranny.
Wasn't there a day when they said wasn't it supposed to end like last week or did they extend it? What happened with that?
No, so as of last night, they've announced that it's going to get even harsher. And our Premier actually used the word war on television yesterday. She said, this is literally a war. So I think that language was very deliberate. It's not a mistake that she said those words. We know very well that they announce their intentions before they get to what they're planning. So we're watching her very closely over the coming weeks to see what else she comes out with. Our Victorian Premier, a couple of weeks ago, before they went into their next lockdown, said that we are going to probably get to a stage where quarantining at home is no longer going to be safe, and hinted that people are going to need to start going to facilities to quarantine. They've built many of these 1,000-bed facilities all across Australia. We're seeing them pop up like pimples.
Due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Anyway, let me know what's going on, what we need to know. I'd love to get your perspective.
Yeah, mate. Well, I was out with a mate of mine on Friday night here, and we were out. I walked from my place to the beach, is about 4.5 k's away. Which I could because it's within the area. And then when I got down there, we flew my drone for a while, got some good photos and that. Then we had a couple of beers. We were sitting in the park there at about 6:30 at night. Apparently it was a dry zone, but we weren't really drunk. And then the cops approached us. We got up to walk away, and then we were arrested by the police. And then we were charged with, I'll show you this. This is my paperwork.
Okay.
This were the offences that were charged. One here was failed to comply with carrying a face covering. Like I did have a face covering, and I was in public without a reasonable excuse. That was the charges I've been charged with now, for being outside without a reasonable excuse and without even having a face mask on my person or in my backpack.
Sheesh. Thank you for showing us that, because it's like a Black Mirror episode or like 1984. Like reading that, it's like your offense, not wearing a mask, being too far away. Like that's crazy.
It's just what's happening in Australia. It's going to come to wherever you are. We've been okay. We've been like the frog in the pot analogy, where we've been okay, and then they've been turning up the heat slowly. Now it's fully boiling, and like Maria said before, I'm friends with Maria. They're building camps here. All this stuff happening here is happening here, and it's going to happen around the world. I mean, we are the testing ground for everything, and it's just become completely insane.
Is that Melbourne?
Yeah, not bad, man. I tell you, it's getting crazy here, though, man.
What's
like
going on?
it's
Give me the lowdown, because I feel like I'm one of the people that keeps broadcasting that message. You guys have some of the craziest lockdowns, and almost nobody's talking about it. Let me know.
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
Look, the majority of Australia's locked down now, and I don't know if you've heard, like New South Wales got 1,000 troops nearly on the street. It's insane. You can't do anything. You can't question anything. Everyone's bloody brainwashed, man. It's crazy. All the shops are closed. So all the restaurants. So my family owns a bar. We've been locked down for over 200 days so far. So we've lost about $3 million, man. And you can't sell takeaway bar cocktail. You can't sell it.
And they try to act like if you disagree with this or have something to say, now they're trying to say it's a terrorist threat.
Pete, what do we know about this?
Well, DHS says this new terrorism advisory is not based on any actual threats or plots, but it says there's a rise in anti-government rhetoric. Some of it is opposition to COVID public health rules like mask and vaccine measures.
Yeah, no, you're right. Exactly that. Now you're a far right extremist, man, just for believing in free choice. I'm happy for you to take the vaccine. I'm happy for you to do whatever you want. Stay home. But we've got to live, man. This is crazy. What's the craziest is that people are openly walking into this new normal, man. It's crazy. They're not questioning anything.
And two things are important, regardless of if you're in Australia or regardless of if you're in America. Do not fear. Do not fear. You know, a wise man once said, fear the Lord, fear the consequences of doing the wrong thing. You know, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has sins, but you should fear the wrong thing. Don't fear these wicked demons. Don't fear the consequences of living in a wicked beast world. You know, fear God. Don't fear these psychos.
Like I said, I don't know this dude or this channel, but I certainly will link it for you so that you can go watch the entire video. Now, what's happening in America? Well, a few weeks ago, the CDC released this statement, I suppose you'd call it, the interim operational considerations for implementing the shielding approach to prevent COVID-19 infections in humanitarian settings, just like our friend at the WHO said.
Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
You know, what is the shielding approach? Well, it aims to reduce the number of severe cases by temporarily relocating to safe or green zones established at the household, neighborhood, camp, sector, or community level. Depending on the context and setting, they would have minimal contact with family and other low-risk residents. In other words, just like the young lady was speaking of in Australia with the camps popping up like pimples, the same thing is occurring here in America and has been for a very long time. And I find it extremely interesting, the immense urgency that we see the U.S. Army and Army Reserves, as well as FEMA and all manner of agencies, are seeking internment resettlement specialists. That's what they're looking for. And the listings are many listings. Urgently hiring. Requires 10 weeks of basic combat training. Come on now, folks. Why do you think they're looking for so many internment resettlement specialists? Just an odd thing, huh? Well, check out what happened yesterday, or the day before, I don't know, in Los Angeles. And yes, there were provocateurs involved in this, but this is what you're gonna deal with, because people are gonna rebel, just like this in Los Angeles.
Enough them all!
So how do you react? What do you do? If you're not walking in the Spirit, then you're not going to know what to do. You're going to be in fear. You're going to be indecisive. You're going to panic, and you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble. I'm just telling you. I know from experience how to get in trouble. So just keep all this stuff in mind, and hang in there. Jesus is the truth, the life, and the way, and there is no other way to the Father. So seek Him diligently and daily. God bless you all. Peace and grace to you. many fish.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God,